Part 88. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 890. Under the powerful gravitational source formed by the neutron blade and the pull of gravity, the modified solid body of the node planet of the semi-low galaxy-level defense system cannot resist this force of destruction. The mechanical warriors were crushed into pieces, pulled up into the atomic flow and became part of the neutron blade, and the transformed planets were pulled by gravity and crushed by the neutron blade. It turns into pieces of different sizes and adheres tightly to its surface. This continued for several minutes. As the energy introduced by Binghua in advance was consumed to the critical point, the restraining force field of the neutron blade resumed work and began to contain the gravitational waves of the neutron blade. A few minutes later, the neutron blade, which was shaped by the restraining force field into the form of an épée, returned to Binghua's hands, but the cracks on the sword did not disappear because the solid ultra-dense neutrons active inside it were not completely cooled down. The modified planet that was regarded as the main target of the attack still maintained a basic spherical shape at this moment. There was no sign of any biological activity on the rugged surface, not even a mechanical warrior. However, its overall volume has shrunk by nearly one-third from before, changing from an Earth-like terraformed planet to a high-density Death Star with strong gravity and gravity. As for the mechanical warriors inside, the complex battle modifications had been squeezed and destroyed in the previous changes, and became part of the planet. While Binghua was competing with these transformed planets, the goddess of victory finally arrived at Semilo's galaxy-level defense line after a long voyage. The expedition fleets broke away from the protection of the stars in front, formed their formations and joined the battle. The star-blocking fleet and the Legion battleships mixed in were like a torrent of metal that swept forward, colliding with the mechanical army and purification fleet of the Eternal Ascended Ones, launching the most intense close-range confrontation. This time, the Eternal Ascended Ones will no longer have a numerical advantage, but the righteous world will have the advantage. Faced with a two-sided attack by the United Fleet deployed by the Justice World, the Eternal Ascended Ones did not collapse. Instead, they fought a battle-loss ratio with the Justice World. In the galaxy-level defense core space, except for the modified planet that had been destroyed by the Ice Flower and the one that was attracted by Zheng Zheng's firepower, the remaining three all aimed their weapons at the large forces of the righteous world. For a time, dense large-scale purification rays were bombarded continuously. From time to time, a destruction class or destruction class space-time shield overloaded ship would be penetrated in the Justice World. The small destruction class was hit after the shield was overloaded, and it was directly destroyed. It will disintegrate and explode after being beaten. But the army of Eternal Ascended Ones didn't go there either. The Angel Legion was deployed to guard the surroundings of the large battleship, preventing the mechanical warriors of the Purifier sequence from running into the blind spot of the battleship and destroying the battleship. With the cooperation of the two, the casualties of the Justice World's fleet were not as serious as expected, but when the Eternal Ascended One fell into an absolute disadvantage, Semilo also took action. The supergiant ray cannon, which can be called a super weapon, was fired, and was immediately destroyed along with his own mechanical warriors and the fleet of the Justice World. Faced with such a situation, Justice World could only spread out the fleet as much as possible to prevent being overwhelmed. The mission of the Goddess of Victory is actually over now. The next step is to withstand Semilo's attack and have a head-on fight with the opponent. If the Justice World wins, it will completely take over the central and outer space regions of this planetary system, leaving Semilo in the core space region alone. If the world of justice fails, the goddess will detonate a star here and destroy everything here, but whether she can successfully detonate and destroy the opponent is unknown. Of course, this is only a last resort that only a few high-level officials know about, and it is the last resort without any other options. In fact, Binghua originally wanted to detonate a supernova here, but Samara would never stand there and watch, and the catalysis of supernova was very dangerous. If it exploded early, even she would be involved. when the united fleet of the Justice World divided and annihilated the mechanical army of the Eternal Ascended Ones, after experiencing an initial disadvantage, facing the siege of Binghua clones, the god-level angels led by Elan, Ran, Haikawi, and Kaza gradually countered the offensive. Under the fire blockade of the surrounding fleet of gods, the Binghua clone that broke in was surrounded. Because the two sides have fought several times, Angel already knows these powerful mechanical warriors very well, and will not suffer the huge casualties at the beginning. Therefore, after Ran and the others eliminated the mechanical warriors they faced, they chose to attack the remaining clones together, using a very common local tactic of using more to defeat fewer. Faced with the siege of two angels with divine wings who were already more powerful than themselves, Binghua's clone had no power to resist when it was left alone. Hizui used his own blade-breaking algorithm to directly destroy the powerful purifying energy field defense of Binghua's clone, followed by a thunder cut to destroy its body, which was much more efficient than fighting alone. The male avatar transformed by Samilo watched the star map gradually being occupied by the red color represented by the world of justice, with an expressionless face. According to the stellar computer, Samilo had obtained the victory rate and now his winning rate has dropped to less than 150 out of 10 results. But Samilo did not feel any fear. He was just an intelligent program that had been programmed to run for tens of millions of years. Since his birth, he had controlled intelligent combat machines to fight against the chaos virus. Even if the Justice World destroys him, for Samilo, it will only be the end of his mission as the purifier of the chaos virus. As for what the universe will look like after that, Samilo, as an intelligent program, does not care. But as long as he still exists, Samilo will not violate the meaning of his creation, purify and eliminate, and curb the spread of the chaos virus. Therefore, Samilo will do his best to mobilize all resources to resist until the last moment. As Samilo's host, he also imitates the destroyers he created and created a movable body and template for himself. Naturally, he is the most difficult enemy he has ever encountered, an angel. When the fleet of the Justice World surrounded and suppressed the legion of Eternal Ascended Ones, and was preparing to follow the pace of the goddess to attack the transformed planet, Binghua once again overloaded the purification energy field of a transformed planet. At this point, in addition to the star factory where his main machine is located, Samilo also has 3 modified planets and some large combat platforms. The mobile force has basically been destroyed. Even the executor class that went to raid the god-level angels and God's fleet was mostly damaged, but it also successfully caused many god-level angels and high-level angels to withdraw from the battle sequence due to injuries. At this point in the fight, although Justice World has the advantage, a large number of angel warriors have withdrawn from the battle sequence due to injuries, which still greatly weakens Justice World's offensive forces. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 891. Hurry up. Don't bother me anymore. Come in quickly. The goddess has broken the purifying energy field for us. We must descend to the surface as quickly as possible and destroy all those damn mechanical bastards. A sergeant captain shouted angrily at his team members, wishing he could use a knife to let the slow-moving team members feel what it means to be loved by an officer. No wonder the sergeant captain is so urging. Now that the world of justice has taken advantage, it must take the opportunity to quickly expand the results. Otherwise, if something unexpected happens, all the sacrifices made for this will be in vain. Everyone knows this truth, and everyone is entering the orbital airdrop cabin as fast as possible, preparing to participate in the next clearing and landing battle against the transformed planet. Because there is no defense force to open the battlefield this time, this task falls to the elite army. In order to cooperate with this combat plan, Binghua directly broke into the interior of the transformed planet as quickly as possible, destroying the purification energy field and energy supply facilities, causing the planet's defensive weapons to suffer a sharp decrease in firepower due to lack of energy. As soon as Binghua left the transformed planet, the expedition fleet rushed over in a hurry, and then began a round of saturation orbital bombardment against the Eternal Ascended Ones on the planet, destroying all the orbital defense weapons on the surface. A clean one. Seeing this, Binghua also went to find the next trouble to transform the planet, using the characteristics of the neutron blade to quickly destroy the purifying energy field covering the entire planet. After fighting for nearly a day, Samilo's galaxy-level defense system has been basically broken by the Justice World, and the entire central and outer star fields of the galaxy have fallen under the control of the Justice World. Samilo was very surprised by this and did not send new reinforcements to hinder the Justice World from suppressing the mechanical warriors inside the transformed planet. Because time was in a hurry, the Justice World only suppressed the captured transformed planet, and pressed all the Eternal Ascended troops active on the surface into the interior of the planet, leaving them behind and then slowly annihilating them. Because the large forces of the Justice World still have one very important thing to do, which is to annihilate Samilo's host, which is also the last fortress of the Eternal Ascended in this planetary system, and the star factory where Samilo is located. Can you still fight? Binghua supported a battle angel who was injured while guarding the battleship, and asked softly. I can still fight, goddess. I can still persist for a just world. The female angel was very happy to see Binghua, and her spirit quickly recovered from the depression caused by the injury. The next battle will be completed by us angels who are not injured. Just retreat and recuperate. Binghua said softly, blocking the mouth of the angel warrior who wanted to say anything in advance, and handed her over to the angel in charge of treatment. Queen, many of our warriors will not be able to participate in the next battle against Samilo due to injuries. Why don't you postpone the attack? Ran, who looked a little tired, came to Binghua's side and said softly. No, if we rest for one more second, the fleet responsible for blocking the Eternal Ascended Force will be one step closer to destruction, so we can't rest yet. Binghua was also a little tired. Although she was not facing a copy of herself, frequent use of powerful weapons was not a good thing either. Ran heard the words and didn't say anything more. He nodded slightly and went to assemble his Judgment Angel Legion that was still capable of fighting. What are your plans for the next attack? The Angel Legion has been fighting continuously for more than a day. Even though we have bodies that hardly feel fatigue, mental fatigue cannot be eliminated by will. As the commander-in-chief of the Angel Legion, Alan lost his elegance after repeated battles. There were traces of battle everywhere on his body, including the scorch caused by the explosion of purifying energy, and the long and narrow scratches caused by cutting with a sharp blade. Of course I know this. Even I feel a little tired, not to mention those ordinary angel warriors. However, the next war will be the home field of mortals. Angels have opened up a path to the future for the righteous world, but the future ultimately needs to be grasped by themselves. Binghua's voice was very plain, but her eyes had an inexplicable color. Now the world of justice has been polished by her as a goddess, and the only thing missing is her strong self-confidence. And destroying the glory of Samilo will increase the confidence of the righteous world to a level consistent with its current status. On the other hand, Binghua is not a cold-blooded existence. It is true that she is the goddess of the just world, but she is also an angel. She will not use the corpses of angels to pile up the path to the future of the just world. Therefore, Binghua would not let the already exhausted Angel Legion, which had suffered a lot of casualties, forcefully participate in the final battle to annihilate Samilo. Of course, as the goddess and founder of the world of justice, Hyuka will not let Samilo massacre her warriors. She will personally cut off Samilo's head and say to him, "You guys who can't even defeat the just world, how do you have the right to think that the just world will be swallowed up by chaos?" After a short rest period, the warships that could still move after emergency repairs began to move in the direction of Samilo's main engine. Semielo also seemed to have a tacit understanding with the world of justice. On the giant body that enveloped the star, the originally folded wing-like structure began to unfold, as did the parts that fit on the surface like armor blocks. However, the neatly arranged purification orbital turrets and the huge ray cannon base after unfolding all showed that Semielo was not without any resistance. The purification energy field that was originally clearly visible also began to slowly shrink, and finally almost clung to the surface of Semielo's huge star factory. However, the purification energy that had been condensed several times undoubtedly did not prove that its defense power had improved a lot. Semielo's originally extremely huge size became even larger and more impressive due to the full deployment of the weapons system. But this does not stop the Justice World from attacking him, because this is an important battle that determines whether the Justice World can safely enter the future. Goddess, all fleets have jumped to their predetermined positions. We have completed the encirclement of Semielo and are ready to attack at any time. The dispatcher of the Supreme Tactical Planning Department asked in the communication. In that case, let's launch a general attack. As Binghua issued the order, members of the Supreme Tactical Planning Department also issued attack orders to various fleets. For a time, tens of thousands of warships assembled in the Justice World launched attacks from all directions at the same time. Although they attack at the same time, there are several main attack areas, and the direction where Binghua is located is one of them. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifen Si Wang. Chapter 892. With the implementation of all orders, large and small warships in the space around Binghua also began to move forward, with very clear goals rushing towards Semielo. Binghua turned his head slightly and looked at the familiar figures beside him and said, "You should have rested. One day of high-intensity fighting is enough. Just leave the rest of the battle to me. Queen, I am your loyal follower. I will be where you are." Ran replied firmly, while Ziluo, Mingya and some god-level angels nodded slightly in agreement. "You asked me to help you fight Semielo, so I will help you to the end. I, Hizui, will not give up halfway." Hizui snorted, dissatisfied with Binghua's decision to make her take a back seat. "I was resurrected in the world of justice, and you gave me my second life. As the queen I am loyal to now, how can I let you fight alone?" Hearing this, Binghua turned his head and raised the corners of his mouth slightly. He was in a good mood, so he no longer thought about whether it was possible or not. He directly pointed the seven-kill sword in his hand in the direction of Semielo and said loudly, "In that case, I won't stop you from participating in the war. Let's break into Semielo's host together today and turn it upside down." In the face of the general attack launched by the Justice World, Semielo also fought back extremely fiercely. The purification railgun groups spread all over the body continued to spray deadly bombardments, and the ray cannons continued to fire at the approaching fleet of the Justice World. The attack frequency of the supergiant ray cannon has reached the highest level since the beginning of the war. The number of fleets in the Justice World is rapidly decreasing, but Semielo has not paid any price. The side of the Just World understands that it is simply unrealistic to destroy the Semielo host, which is larger than a star, in a short period of time. Therefore, the fleet's attacks are directed at various weapons on the surface of Semielo. Although Semielo has the energy support of a star, in the face of constant bombing by the fleet, the recovery of the purifying energy field has an upper limit. Although it is slow, Semielo's weapons are being destroyed one by one. Semielo's other weapons are easy to say, but the only one that makes the Justice World fearful is the super-large ray cannon. Its strike range is too large. Every time it is fired, it will cause huge casualties to the Justice World's fleet. Binghua naturally knows this. Her primary purpose is to find a way to paralyze this large weapon system, but it is a bit difficult to do so, because this weapon is under the intensive protection of Semi-Lo, and it is a little difficult to break through. After patiently observing the battlefield for a period of time, Binghua found a point in Semi-Lo where the firepower was slightly weaker than other areas, and then pierced through it with a dive. Ran, who had been looking for opportunities near Binghua, saw this, and Alan and the others also followed Binghua's flight path to the vicinity of Semi-Lo's body. Just as Binghua raised his sword and prepared to destroy the shell of the Samaro host in front of him, several blasts of cold light made Binghua give up on his goal and swung several swords one after another to knock the attacker away. Feather-like flying blades. I won't let you destroy the Semi-Lo host, Angel King. A cold and emotionless voice sounded in the wide area channel, and Binghua turned his gaze to look in the direction of the attack. A being who looked very similar to Binghua stood outside the Semi-Lo host, and there were 20 copies of Binghua beside him. As for why Binghua did not confuse the leader with those clones, it was because Binghua sensed the mysterious temperament from the leader that only intelligent life could possess. I don't have time to play with you now. If you don't want to be destroyed, don't stop me. Binghua was not as afraid of these clones as Xiangran and the others. Before her strength reaches a certain level, the difference between one person and 10 people is not big. It was the Executor class prototype destroyer 101 that intercepted Hyuka. The task assigned by Semi-Lo was to intercept Hyuka. Seeing that the other party was silent, Binghua stopped speaking and just threw a slender slash of flames at him. However, as a clone that could tangle with an angel of Ran's level for a while, it would not be so simple. Will be destroyed. Before the attack approached, these Executor class scattered and rushed towards Binghua from all directions. 101 even controlled hundreds of flying blades transformed from the bionic angel wings behind him to strangle Binghua. Binghua's response to this was very simple. He flew backwards in an arc to widen the distance between them. At the same time, he blocked the position of his clone and rushed towards it, reducing the number of enemies he needed to face at the same time. All of this was Binghua's subconscious behavior. After seeing that the distance was slightly widened, Binghua opened the 5 fingers of his left hand and shook it in the direction of the copy that was following him. The next moment, dozens of God-beaming locks suddenly poked out of the wormhole, and in an instant a complex network structure was constructed. Then, as soon as it was tightened, 5 unlucky clones were captured on the spot. Seeing this, 101 immediately controlled her flying blade to rescue her, but unfortunately Binghua would not give her this chance. The king's sword in her hand turned into a retractable Chaiwan whip sword in the blink of an eye. Chaiwan seemed to have his own consciousness under Binghua's operation, extending forward hundreds of meters through mass energy conversion, and then the sword body shook and knocked a large number of 101 controlled flying blades out of control and flew into the distance. While Binghua was entangled with these copies of himself, Ran and the others had already begun to destroy Semi-Lo's shell. It looked like nothing from a distance, but when they got closer, Ran, Haikawi and other angels had to sigh at the huge size of Semi-Lo. Their sight could not see the end of Semi-Lo's body, and they even felt like a mortal looking at the horizon. Feel. The heavenly court of Merlo is extremely small compared to it. How can such an existence be destroyed? This became the voice of the angels who came near the host of Semi-Lo. But soon they no longer thought about this troublesome problem. They first destroyed the weapons and facilities that continuously launched attacks. Binghua, who was entangled with 101 on the other side, trapped 5 clones and used Chaiwan to prevent 101 from rescuing his subordinates. Binghua once again carried out the star-piercing gun and used the instantaneous energy surge of the simulated star to kill 2 of his own. The clones were strung together. 101 suddenly felt that Binghua had become much stronger than the last time the two fought. His mass-produced executor was not cannon fodder, and it was destroyed by the opponent so easily. Binghua glanced at the clone that was still leaning towards him and felt a little annoyed. After all, Seeing so many enemies standing in his face on the battlefield would not make anyone feel good. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifen Si Wang. Chapter 893. Because there were a large number of clones around, Binghua was unable to concentrate on dealing with 101, but as time went by, the clones were being destroyed by Binghua one by one. Although 101 knew that his interception mission would definitely fail if this continued, he could not calculate any feasible response plan at all. Whenever 101 calculates a feasible plan and asks the executor-level mechanical warriors to implement it, Binghua will always use special weapons that are not in the information and unknown means to tear her plan into pieces. Binghua didn't feel much about this. To deal with these mechanical warriors who relied on data to fight, frequent changes in combat modes could effectively prevent their attacks. When intercepting Binghua, Samilo did not forget the other god-level angels approaching her, as well as the united fleet of the Justice World. A dozen executor-class units rushed into the attacking combined fleet and began to wreak havoc. For the first time, the fleet of the Justice World discovered how difficult these guys are without angels dragging these high-sequence mechanical warriors. But at this point, a dozen executor-class machines can no longer turn the tide of the battle. After all, they are not Binghua, and they possess all kinds of terrifying and destructive weapons. In the surface area of Samilo, after a lot of effort, with the blessing of Hichui's blade-breaking algorithm, Ran and a group of angels finally broke through the purification energy field defense on the surface of Samilo. Alan then used his skillful flame-bombing cutting skills to cut an accessible gap in Samilo's thick armor. Angels such as Ran and Ming rushed into the gap without any hesitation and entered the interior of Samilo. After identifying the direction, they began to break through in the direction of Samilo's supergiant ray cannon. Compared with the intensive strafing bombing of purification rays outside, Samilo's interior does not have an overly powerful defense system, but the self-disciplined defense machinery cannot kill them all, so the angels are advancing extremely slowly. Binghua, who was intercepted on Samilo's body, spent a lot of effort to destroy all the 20 clones that besieged her. The remaining 101 hid far away, so Binghua could not find anything. Opportunity to take action. All the men you brought are gone, you must have wisdom, right? Your host is now surrounded, and it is only a matter of time before it is destroyed. Even if you drag me here, it is useless, let alone you can't drag me back. While Binghua was speaking, the tip of the star-piercing spear in his hand, which was surging with the star's brilliance, was pointed at Samilo on the side, and then the raging star-piercing beam bombarded out. Binghua's attitude didn't take 101 to heart at all, but 101 didn't have the humiliation and anger of ordinary intelligent beings. She just summoned her own space structure generator and pulled out several space rifts to attack. For this kind of attack, even Binghua can only choose to dodge, because he might be sucked in if he is not careful. On the other hand, Binghua became very interested in 101, a mechanical warrior who had the same appearance as herself. She wondered whether she would build a few machines to serve as her own intelligent clones after destroying Samiro. Because the characteristics that 101 has shown from the battle to the present are all showing that it is a perfect combat weapon. But that's it? With only one, she poses no threat to herself. After dodging several consecutive attacks from 101, Binghua switched to holding the gun in his left hand, and the Titan's hand armor instantly covered his right hand. Seeing this, 101's eyes shrank slightly, and he immediately flew back and left his original position. The next moment, the invisible power of the force field directly covered the area and solidified it. Whether it was floating metal debris or broken mechanical limbs, they all stuck in stagnation. But Binghua frowned slightly, because 101 avoided the grabbing range of her force field. How did she see her force field? Samilo has already researched Ice Flower's force field manipulation, and created detection technology that can observe the force field, and even equipped it with ordinary mechanical warriors. But facing Binghua's rapidly spreading force field, ordinary mechanical warriors couldn't escape even if they observed it. They were completely useless. Among the mechanical warriors manufactured by Seminary, only the prototype 101 had enough maneuverability to react the moment Binghua opened the force field and avoid the force field's coverage. But so what if you avoid it? The initial range of Titan's grip's force field is not very large, but with the support of the star-level energy core, the attack coverage can cover a planet. The capture range of the force field that originally covered hundreds of square meters expanded rapidly. Seeing this, 101 could only move away from Binghua's position at a faster speed. But how could the flying speed exceed the expansion speed of the force field? A moment later, 101, which was flying at high speed, was captured by the force field, and its speed became slower and slower under the drag of the force field. Seeing that Binghua had captured 101, he immediately controlled the scope of the force field to rapidly shrink, increasing the solidification intensity of the force field. 101 immediately felt that the pressure on his body began to rise in a straight line, as if he had been thrown into a super-large gravity well. Binghua didn't expect to destroy the extremely strong 101 body just by crushing the force field. That would take too long, and she didn't have that much time to waste. Binghua raised the star-piercing spear high above his head, liberating the upper limit of its energy output and activating the energy blade algorithm. In the radiance of the blooming star, an energy blade several meters long condensed in front of the sharp tip of the star-piercing spear. Without any high-spirited declarations or congratulations, Binghua directly threw the star-piercing spear in his hand. After the star-piercing spear broke away from the ice flower, the energy blade in front of it quickly expanded to dozens of meters in size, like a spear of light piercing the darkness, its entire body burning with raging energy flames. The imprisoned 101 only felt that her vision turned into a fiery red. The next moment, 101 was hit by the star-piercing gun, pushing her towards the distance. Under the influence of Semilo's gravity, she slipped out of a parabola in the universe and fell onto Semilo's body. Then there was a violent explosion, and the raging energy shockwave spread like ripples on the water's surface. Even part of Semilo's purification energy field was blown up, exposing the surface that was burned and melted by the energy. Binghua no longer paid attention to 101, and even did not recycle his own star-piercing spear, because the energy release just now had almost consumed the mimic star energy in the star-piercing spear. Immediately, Binghua's sight fell on the Seminary star factory on one side. The 7-kill sword was once again held in his hand, and the dark energy cutting was activated. The scorching red light immediately covered the sword body of the 7 kills with distinct lines. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 894. As the energy of this purifying energy field was exhausted, before its energy could be restored, Semilo's thick armor was cut open by Hiawa's powerful 7-kill sword dark energy. As soon as he entered the interior of Semilo, Binghua received an extremely warm welcome. The 4-legged autonomous defense robots jumped out from the passage bulkhead inside Semilo. They were densely packed and soon occupied the entire passage. Seeing this, Binghua swung his sword, and the slender flame slash flew out horizontally, cutting open all the defense robots on the path. To deal with these mechanical weapons that don't even have a purifying energy field, flame slashing alone is enough. Similar to Binghua, although Ran and other angels were slowed down by these mechanical weapons, their firepower was unable to cause damage to the divine bodies of God-level angels. But unlike Ran and the others, who could only cut all the way through, Binghua raised his hand to block several rounds of purifying energy light bombs, and then directly created a barrier in front with a force field. Immediately, the wings of the angel behind Binghua spread out, and blue thunder and lightning flashed and danced around him. In the next second, Binghua's figure disappeared from the spot, and the lightning that turned into a ball knocked away everything in its path under the protection of the force field, and quickly headed towards the super-large purification ray cannon that was scanning for dark information. As the outside world gets closer to the Samilo host, the losses of the Justice World United Fleet will become greater. It can be said that the Justice World is completely fighting for its life in this battle. Even warriors as powerful as the Super Legion will fall under the continuous erosion of energy if they are hit by a large purifying energy ray cannon. The foundation accumulated by the Justice World for thousands of years is being rapidly consumed in this battle, both in terms of resources and military strength. The same goes for Samilo. The damage to his body's star factory is gradually accumulating as time goes by. The peripheral weapon systems are being destroyed one by the world of justice, and the interior is invaded by Binghua and other god-level angels. Even the executor class that had been accumulated for a long time was almost completely destroyed in the battle with the angels. For the first time since his birth, Samilo felt that he was at the end of his rope. At this time, his calculated victory rate was less than 100%. Out of 10. The only way to improve the winning rate is to interfere with the stars that are the energy source of the star factory, and use the energy of the stars to erupt a large-scale solar wind to clear out all enemies in this galaxy. This can buy a certain amount of time. But Samilo did not do this. If the army of chaos attacked him, Samilo would do anything to fulfill his duty. But the world of justice is not a chaos virus. The world of justice was initially purified only because the lives living within the scope of justice were too weak in Samilo's opinion and had no ability to resist the infection of chaos. Therefore, in order to prevent chaos from infecting the world of justice and once again forming a star field that cannot be completely destroyed like the chaos star field, Samilo decided to conduct a purification operation, just like creating a fire break when a fire breaks out. But the world of justice gave Samiro a big surprise. Not only did he fight back the troops he sent to carry out purification operations, they also resisted the invasion and infection of the chaos virus. Samilo even once calculated a result, which was to unite with the justice world to destroy the chaos virus. However, during the subsequent battle, Samilo discovered that the justice world was actually developing dangerous biotechnology. This cut off the possibility of union with the just world, but the subsequent Great Crusade of the just world made Samilo know that the just world was different from all the civilizations he had come into contact with. Their development speed is unpredictable. In just a few thousand years, they have surpassed the tens of thousands of years of ordinary civilization. They were born in wars and grew in wars. Now they have reached the point where they can eliminate them. Now that destruction has become a settlement, Samilo simply compiled all his observation data on Hundu, as well as the data containing purification technology, into a database and stored it in his core host. And he, as the purification program of the chaos virus that has survived for millions of years, will perform his duties until the end. After hurriedly traveling for a period of time, Binghua finally arrived at the area where the super-large ray cannon was located. Then he immediately took out the star blade of destruction and destroyed the weapon components here. The weapon system, which was originally filled with purifying energy, exploded horribly because its components were destroyed by the destruction star blade, and the energy had nowhere to vent. The aftermath of the purifying energy shooting out everywhere destroyed everything around him, and even Binghua had to block the components of the destruction star blade in front of him to resist the aftermath of the energy explosion. The muzzle part of the super-large purification ray gun that the outside world used to fire at the Justice World fleet from time to time suddenly exploded and then went silent. This greatly boosted the morale of the attacking Justice World fleet. The enemy's special weapons have been destroyed, and Samilo can no longer stop them from winning the Just World. For a moment, the combined fleet began to rush forward desperately, completely ignoring the large ray cannons that were still firing. Among them, the landing ship of the Super Legion was the first to arrive near Seminary, and without any slowdown, it directly crashed into the gap created by the bombing. Everyone who is not dead, rush out and smash the heads of those mechanical bastards. A company captain of the Super Legion kicked open the heavy landing ship door and jumped out. After landing, the blaster in his hand fired wildly at the swarming defense machines. After finishing a magazine, the sergeant captain directly punched the defense machine that rushed towards him and sent it flying back, knocking down a group of his own kind. The purification light bombs launched by these defense machines are killers of ordinary light vehicles and defense forces, but when faced with Super Legion warriors wearing the ultimate type of demigod armor, it can only stain their charged armor with a scorch black. As more and more Super Legion soldiers rushed out of the landing ship, the approaching defense machinery was quickly pushed back. Repel these mechanical bastards for me. Our mission is to destroy any energy transmission structure we see. The captain's sergeant shouted at the top of his voice over the COMM. While shooting, he ran forward quickly. After firing the bullets, he immediately pulled out his Fan Shenjian, breaking the military type, and slashed at the surrounding defense machinery. The other super-modified Legion soldiers were similar. They used their fastest speed to break through the siege of these machines and rushed towards the base of the Seminary dark energy orbital turret displayed in their helmet goggles. Regardless of the danger, their colleagues sent them into Semilo's interior, in order to allow them to destroy Semilo's armed forces from within. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 895. As the first company of the Super Legion broke into Semilo's body through the landing ship, more and more landing troops began to rush through Semilo's fire blockade network. Under the continuous fire bombardment of the United Fleet of Justice World, the intensity of Semilo's defensive firepower has been greatly reduced. After Binghua destroyed the super-large purification ray cannon, she began to move towards the inside of Semilo's host. To her surprise, she did not encounter much resistance. After passing through an area with complex transmission channels on the first floor, what caught Binghua's eyes was some kind of giant metal synthesis smelting facility and a gravity forging press. Their working principles were similar to the heavy equipment used in the Justice World. But the volume here in Semilo is even larger. Through the scanning of the Eye of Insight, Binghua can see that in terms of mechanical engineering technology, the Eternal Ascended One is better than the Star Ring of the Justice World in some aspects. Continuing forward, Binghua saw the production line of destroyers. Semi-finished destroyers were hung in the air by mechanical arms, surrounded by external armor that had not been installed. In the innermost part, Binghua even saw more than a dozen sealed copies of himself. However, compared to the beautiful image of the finished wearer of the Angel King armor covered with synthetic skin, their bodies at this moment showed a silver metallic color. When Binghua came to a closed metal door at the end of Semilo's production workshop, she was about to raise the king's sword in her hand to cut it open, but the metal door opened automatically, and at the same time there was a powerful sound, a generous male voice. You are the first intelligent life form to step into the host machine in millions of years. Hearing this, Binghua did not step into the area behind the door rashly. He scanned it with his eyes of insight before stepping into it. As soon as he entered Binghua's field of vision, he saw an unusually wide hall. At the end of the hall was a 1,000-meter-high wall. The surface was covered with a crystal protective layer, and inside were densely spliced transistor-like objects. Unknown symbols circulate. As you can see, this is where the purge host is. A projection suddenly appeared. It was an image that surprised Binghua. He was a middle-aged man wearing a white robe, a blue crystal headband on his forehead, and a thin face with tattoos of unknown meaning. I am the creator of the purification host and I have something I want to talk to you about. I'm not surprised at all. Can you tell me if you have anything to talk to me about, but please keep it brief. Now we are in a state of war, and my soldiers are bleeding every moment. I will not slowly chat with you here about things that have not changed the status quo. Binghua's expression was cold. She felt that there was nothing to talk about between the two of Semilo. Could it be that the two sides could just shake hands and make peace? Don't worry, the Angel King from the Angel Civilization, everything I have is in the host behind. After you defeat Semilo, you will have enough time to browse. What I want to talk to you about is that the world of justice is on the road to self-destruction. When you think you have the rights of the Creator and can modify creation at will, sooner or later your creation will bite you back. Please do not let the tragedy that happened to our civilization happen to you. After saying this, Samaro's projection began to dissipate, and the originally bright environment began to change. The originally opaque floor became translucent, revealing the endless firelight below. No need to guess, Binghua knew that this was definitely Semilo. The surface of the star where Myro is located. This is a message left by my Creator to the existence that can destroy me. Your existence, King of Angels, has hindered me from fulfilling my mission. Destroy me so that your world of justice can continue, otherwise I will continue to purify you until you no longer become a hotbed of chaos. Semilo's voice replaced the previous generous male voice, filled with a cold and ruthless voice that was unique to machinery. This is the only way to be presentable. The sense of disobedience in Binghua's heart dissipated when she saw this. This was the image of Semilo she had felt in the communication before. As the surrounding environment changed, a tall mechanical warrior rose from the ground in front of Semilo's host. Compared with the destroyer sequence mechanical warrior, his figure was stronger. His body was no longer made of pieced outer armor, but stacked layer upon layer of heavy armor like a fantasy knight. The back is a folded flying wing. This thing Binghua has seen on the mechanical warriors of the destroyer sequence has many functions. Then there is the weapon used by Semilo, which is not a sword in the conventional sense but a long-handled battle axe. Destroy it. Angel King, as long as I destroy you, the righteous world will not be able to resist my purification. The V-shaped goggles on Semilo's face lit up with scarlet light as he spoke, and the purification battle axe in his hand struck Binghua mercilessly. There was a loud bang, and the purification battle axe struck by Semilo was blocked by the king's sword in Binghua's hand, but the metal platform of unknown material under Binghua's feet had already been stepped into two deep holes. Footprint. Semilo's power did not exceed Binghua's expectations, that is, it was stronger than his own clone. Just as the two sides were wrestling, the flying wings behind Semilo suddenly unfolded, and dozens of small structural weapons were separated, aiming at Binghua and preparing to fire, but the flaming swords destroyed it in the next moment. Just like a replica of the scene just now, in the space behind Binghua, the flaming swords poked out their sword tips one after another, and then the multiple flaming bombardment formulas were imported. Before Semilo could retreat, the flaming sword, which had already ignited with red energy flames, shot out at the next moment, hitting the purifying energy field on Semilo's body, setting off waves of spreading energy aftermath. Although he didn't know whether the words left by the creator of Semilo were true, Binghua did not want to destroy the so-called purification host, so he did not transport his neutron blade. Otherwise, the place will be completely destroyed in a few hits. On the other hand, Semilo is not that strong, and its combat effectiveness has not been qualitatively improved compared to the destroyer sequence. After being bombarded by a flaming sword blessed with a round of flaming bombing energy, Semilo flew dozens of meters away and fell heavily to the ground, but the purification energy field defense on his body remained strong. A defense-enhanced model? Let's see how I break your turtle shell. Seeing this, Binghua raised the seven-killing king's sword, unfolded the angel wings behind him and stepped heavily on the ground, rushing out like a phantom. As soon as Samaro stood up, he was stabbed heavily in the abdomen by the tip of the seven-killing king's sword. He was pushed by the force of Binghua's sprint and hit the alloy wall on the side 100 meters behind, leaving a 10 meters of deformation pits. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifen Si Wang. Chapter 896. When Simielo was thrust into the air, Binghua played a trick and swapped his position, so now Binghua's back was facing the purification host. Simielo didn't care about his change of position. The flying wings on his back immediately detached from his body after standing up and turned into several large structural weapons and began to store energy. He didn't care at all that behind Binghua was his main machine. Seeing this, Binghua raised his eyebrows slightly and raised his left hand. Burning red lines appeared around his wrist, outlining the appearance of the Titan's hand armor. After Simielo accumulated his energy, he launched it in Binghua's direction without hesitation. However, when the high-energy purification ray was still 2 meters away from Binghua's body, it was blocked by an invisible force field barrier and turned into filament-like energy particles floating around. Binghua held the force field barrier with his left hand, and his eyes reflected the faint blue light reflected by the attack coming from the front. After a moment of stalemate, Binghua began to withstand Simielo's attack and began to move forward, as if the impact of the purification ray did not exist. When Simielo realized something was wrong, Binghua was not far away from him. Seeing this, Simielo stopped the energy output of his structural weapons, raised the purification battle axe in his hand, and then dropped it quickly. With a roar of metal collision, Binghua's Titan's hand gauntlet on his left hand unexpectedly grabbed the fallen battle axe from Simielo. If a mechanical warrior of your level wants to destroy me, prepare 180 more. At the same time as Binghua finished speaking, there was a clicking sound, which turned out to be the sound of the blade of the purifying battle axe being crushed. Before Simielo could make any other moves, the blade of the purifying battle axe completely turned into fragments and scattered in all directions. Binghua's left hand, which crushed the purifying battle axe and covered the Titan's grip, clenched into a fist and struck Simielo's chest hard, causing the purifying energy field on his body to fluctuate continuously. Before Simielo could fly a few meters, with Binghua's thought, the god-beaming lock rushed out of the wormhole and circled Simielo several times in an instant. As the god-beaming chain was straightened, Simielo's flying figure was directly hung in the air, unable to move. Binghua held the hilt of the Wang sword with both hands and activated the dark energy cutting mode of the 7 kills of the Wang sword. The surging dark energy was compressed on the edge of the sword, glowing with an energy glow like red-hot metal. Immediately, Binghua sprinted in front of Simielo, who was still breaking free from the restraints of the god-binding chain. He raised the 7 killing king sword high and aimed at Simielo's armored helmet-like face and struck hard. In an instant, dazzling energy particle sparks escaped from the purifying energy field on the faces of Wang Jian and Simielo, dyeing the surrounding space with a red and blue glow, which was very gorgeous. Binghua exerted all his strength to press down on Wang's sword, and the divine locks that restrained Simielo were so stretched that they made a clanking sound, as if they might break at any time. Unable to move, Simielo could only use all his energy to purify the energy field to resist the blade that was getting closer to his body. But as time goes by, the purifying energy field loaded by Simielo is getting closer and closer to overload. Finally, after half a minute of stalemate, the sword edge of the 7 killing king sword, which contained the dark energy with the highest output of the 3rd generation divine body, finally broke through the seemingly thin layer of purifying energy field and landed on Simielo's body. The extreme compression of dark energy brings about terrifying ultra-high temperatures and energy erosion. Coupled with the inexhaustible nature of the dark silver weapon, it flows down smoothly like butter, and even the restraint locks are cut off. Cut into numbers. With a dull and loud bang, Simielo's tall metal body broke into 2 halves and fell to the ground. The high temperature and dark energy erosion at the cut made it red. Binghua let out a heavy breath. Just when he stood up straight, the light that was originally emitting a faint red light suddenly turned back to the original brightness. At the same time, Simielo's voice sounded again, but it was no longer as cold as before. Extremely stiff. According to the hybrid virus decontamination protocol, the Semi-Lo execution program has stopped running, but the decontamination protocol is still in effect. As these words came out from the purification host, the purification energy field generator of the Semi-Lo stellar factory stopped supplying power, and all mechanical warriors not directly under the command of the high-sequence Eternal Ascendant entered a standby state. This sudden scene made the Justice World, which was fighting the Eternal Ascendant's life and death, a little confused. However, the troops of the Justice World did not spare any effort and destroyed all the mechanical warriors who were in standby. Binghua did not issue an order to stop the attack just because Seminary stopped running. She stepped forward to what the creator of Seminary called the purification host. She raised her hand and her eyes lit up with white light, and tentatively connected to the so-called purification host. Clean the host. To Binghua's surprise, she easily entered the system of the purification host and began to browse its huge database, which recorded everything she had seen and heard from Semi-Lo from its birth to the moment it ceased operation. Its time spans millions of years, and Binghua saw a lot of unheard and unseen information about civilization just by browsing at will. Because the database is too large, even with Binghua's computing power, it cannot be fully read in a short period of time, so it can only be temporarily sealed. As if some special mechanism had been triggered, the purification host actually popped up an information entry application. Binghua tentatively entered part of his own information, and immediately gained the highest authority except for the creator of the purification host. After Binghua's investigation, the entire purification host, apart from Semi-Lo as the purification program, only had access information records of Binghua and Semi-Lo. The most recent recorded visit to Semi-Lo was more than 2 million years ago. After getting familiar with the Semi-Lo host for a while, Binghua understood its general functions and role among the Eternal Ascended Ones. Strictly speaking, the purification host is not Semi-Lo itself. It is a super-large physical celestial-level computer. Semi-Lo is just a program with a partial mimetic personality written by the manufacturer of the purification host. That is, the Chaos Virus Purification Program Semi-Lo was named by its creator. After the creator of the host died, the purification program named Semi-Lo ran for millions of years according to the goals set by its author. The Seminary purification process does not stop until Binghua meets the host's access requirements. Seeing this information rooted in the core of the purification host, Binghua finally understood why the Eternal Ascended One had always wanted to purify the world of justice, because Semi-Lo was just fulfilling the mission given to him by his creator. Even if what he did was wrong. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 897. After a basic understanding, Binghua confirmed that the purified host was really not a trap set by Semi-Lo, and then the whole army of Justice World announced that Semi-Lo had been destroyed and the Eternal Ascended Army was shut down. This sudden victory made the fleets and legions of the Justice World fighting on the front line feel incredible, because this victory came too dreamily. But the mechanical warriors that stopped running on the battlefield and the Semi-Lo defense system that no longer fired all showed that what the goddess said was true. After the communication channel was silent for a moment, enthusiastic cheers suddenly erupted. At this moment, both the super legionnaires inside Seminary and the bridge commanders of the fleet outside were all cheering excitedly. Even the calmer commanders of each unit couldn't help but have a relaxed smile on their faces. It is true that the Semi-Lo host annihilation war used too much of the military power of the Justice World, and it lasted for such a long time. Even if no one explicitly mentions it, many people are worried about the consequences of failure in this battle. Hizui and other angels, who were surrounded by massive defense machinery, naturally heard what Binghua said in the communication. Hichui kicked away the stopped machinery in front of him and said somewhat depressedly, "I thought we could find Semi-Lo and learn about Binghua this time before he entered here, but I didn't expect that we were ruined by these scraps of metal." Seeing Hizui venting his frustration on the already stationary defense machine like a child, Ran comforted him with a bit of laughter. I think this is good. During these years in the justice world, I have dealt with these machines every day, and now I feel annoyed when I see them. After destroying Seminary this time, there is no need to fight these guys anymore. Ran is right. If Seminary hadn't been pressing the world of justice step by step, we wouldn't have been fighting wars all year round. After this battle is over, there should be peace for a long time. AI land doesn't really like large-scale wars. As a firm believer in Merlot's concept of justice, her attitude towards mortals has always been loving, and she doesn't like to see these fragile mortals die in front of her. As for Ming, Zillow, who were either warlike or guardian angels, they were simply happy that the queen had won, and did not care much about the impact this war would have on the righteous world. Almost at the moment Seminary stopped running, the army of eternal ascended ones that came to support Seminary stopped attacking and simply retreated. They neither stopped running like the mechanical warriors around Seminary, nor continued to attack the army of the justice world, which made the justice world side very confused. Even Binghua has not found the reason for the time being, but this does not prevent justice world from collecting the fruits of its victory. The first step is to establish a complete defense system on the purification host to prevent the counterattack of the destroyer's high-sequence eternal ascension and allow the gains of the righteous world to be taken away. The galaxy-level defense system left by Seminary is very suitable as the new line of defense for the world of justice. It just so happens that those modified planets and large defense platforms can become good orbital defense fortresses with just some modifications. Those mechanical warriors that stopped operating were collected and sealed by the world of justice, and will be studied after the situation stabilizes. Binghua also took a moment to recycle his star-piercing spear and other projected weapons. While the justice world is busy rebuilding its defense line, Binghua has been exploring the function of purifying the host in order to master this big guy as soon as possible. After some browsing and exploration, Binghua found the purification program Seminary that had stopped running. According to Binghua's investigation, Seminary did not have any backup outside. In other words, as long as Binghua deletes Seminary in the purification host, the other party will disappear completely, but Binghua did not do this. Because the Seminary purification program has been running according to the goals written by his creator, it has never slackened, and it even has a certain degree of thinking and computing ability. Deleting such an intelligent program directly would be a waste of money. Binghua planned to wait until he figured out the programming algorithm to purify the host, then modify Seminary to make it his own. Among them, Binghua's biggest gain was the huge amount of information in the Eternal Ascender's database, which not only contained what the Eternal Ascender saw and heard when purifying the Chaos virus. There was also the technological information about the civilization that had been purified by the purification fleet due to being infected with the Chaos virus. Seminary seemed to have a collecting habit and collected all the technology he could obtain. For example, the microspace structure generator technology equipped on Semilo's most powerful creation destroyer mechanical warrior prototype 101 was obtained from a civilization that was about to be destroyed by the Chaos virus. Even the energy field technology is the same. Semilo's own research and development capabilities are actually extremely limited. Only when he sees some powerful civilizations, such as the Angel civilization, that can defeat their purification fleets, will Semilo imitate the ARM templates of these civilizations and combine them with the technologies in his own database to develop new combat units. The reason why the high-sequence destroyer did not shut down because Semilo stopped running is because Semilo left behind system backup to prevent himself from being destroyed by the Chaos virus. That is to say, when the purification host is destroyed by chaotic creatures, the destroyer sequences derived from its subroutines will give birth to the next Semilo purification program. That's why they didn't have any downtime due to Semilo's suspension. The current situation is that Semilo was not destroyed by chaos, but because of the emergence of a civilization that met the creator's conditions, causing Semilo to purify the host to stop running. This means that the system backhand left by Samilo has not been activated. The destroyer sequence that blocked the Chaos Star territory still continued to perform its duties in accordance with the purification agreement. The destroyers and purifiers who came to support also chose to continue to fulfill their original mission after losing their mission to rescue Samiro. Responsibility: purify small groups of chaos viruses circulating in the universe. Even though Binghua obtained the highest authority to purify the host except the creator, he still could not command the large number of eternal ascended troops walking in the Chaos Star territory through Samilo. Therefore, Binghua reprogrammed the Samilo purification program as soon as possible and put it into his next more urgent research topic sequence. Binghua's current idea is to temporarily make peace with these eternal sublimators who have lost their command center. You can go ahead and purify the so-called chaos virus, but we must first digest the legacy left by Samilo. Binghua had a hunch that if Justice World could fully understand the large amount of technical information in Samiro's database, Justice World's technology would reach a huge level. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifen Si Wang. Chapter 898. In the blink of an eye, several years have passed since the annihilation battle of Samilo, and the world of justice has once again entered a period of relatively gentle development in these years. The Great Crusade, which lasted for hundreds of years, came to an end after the annihilation war of Samilo. A large number of frontline defense forces were transferred back to the Justice World, leaving only Fortress World sealed on the front line. The three major expeditionary armies were also directly dismantled into their previous structures. Elite legions were restationed in each world, but the elite legions would stop recruiting personnel. Instead, the super legions would expand their establishment. But compared with the recruitment standards during the Great Crusade, the new recruitment standards have been improved a lot. The most important of them is that you must have a sense of identification with the world of justice, otherwise you will not be recruited. The reason why the standards are so strict is that there should be no large-scale wars in the just world for a long time, so it is necessary to limit the expansion of military power. Even the recruitment quota for the National Defense Force has been significantly reduced, which regrets many young people in the righteous world who are eager to join the army and gain glory. But the veterans who had truly experienced the Great Expedition era breathed a sigh of relief, because they finally no longer had to face those cold machines every day. However, the defense forces stationed in the Death Star territory were not transferred away, because the threat of chaos has not been eliminated from the beginning to the end. In order to prevent chaos from invading the scope of the world of justice, an army was left in the Death Star territory to cooperate with the fortress defense line. Necessary. Why, it looks like you are leaving the world of God's throne. Binghua met Haikawi in casual clothes at his residence in the God Seed world, and he immediately understood why the other party came to find him. Aren't you asking questions knowingly? There is no war going on now, and it's time for me to continue being my roving judgment angel. Hizui followed Binghua into the room, while Jingnan, who was inseparable from Binghua, had already prepared drinks for them that suited their respective tastes. I see that you are not going to be a traveling angel, but going to various worlds to eat, drink and have fun. How could Binghua not know Hizui's thoughts? He couldn't help but laugh and tease. Don't say it so bluntly. At any rate, I have fulfilled my duties as a judgment angel. Hizui didn't feel embarrassed at all when Binghua exposed his thoughts, but he didn't care at all. Forget it, it's always a good thing to have something to do, but I hope you can take Elan with you. As soon as Binghua's words came out of his mouth, Hizui almost spat out half of the drink he drank in his mouth. Binghua, I'll call you queen after all, but you can't harm me like this. Hizui was very reluctant to take Elan with him, even if their relationship was extremely good. It's true that Hichui can't get along with Aiyan's troublesome character. He Chui is a warrior who does things as he pleases and will directly take action on things he doesn't like. As Kesh's assistant and former holy left-winger, Alan thinks more about things. But this is just procrastination in He Zui's view, and another reason is Alan's compassion for the weak. Regarding this point, He Chui and Alan have completely different ideas. He Chui disdains bullying of the weak and cannot stand bullying the weak, but this is the limit. Unless she encounters him, she will not dedicated to helping the weak. The most important point is that Heikui is used to wandering alone in the world of justice. With the addition of a companion, many of her plans will have to be modified. Seeing He Chui's resistance, Binghua thought about it and gave up the idea of letting Ailan and He Chui go out to relax. The reason why Binghua came up with the idea of letting Heikui take Ailan with him was because Ailan had nothing to do during this period. It seemed that she had nothing else to do except fight for the righteous world. In fact, Ailan wanted to promote the concept of justice and protect the weak like in the known universe, but unfortunately, there was no so-called weak for her to protect in the world of justice. Each world here has extremely complete laws, and there are also judgment angels affiliated with the world of God as law enforcement forces to intimidate all evildoers, so Ailan feels that he is a bit redundant in the world of justice. Binghua talked to Ailan and told her not to think too much and just treat it as a long vacation and rest for a while, but the effect was not great. Now Binghua can only hope that Ailan will find something to do. Ran and the others don't have this problem, because it's similar to when they were in Merlot Heaven. They all have their own things to be busy with, and occasionally find time to get together and rest for a while. Binghua also has his own things to be busy with, which is the reprogramming work of purifying the host. As a founder of civilization, Binghua will not use risky things. Therefore, cracking the system of the purified host, deleting the creator rights of the purified host, and reprogramming Samilo became her main tasks. With the help of Tianjian's supercomputer, the progress is going very smoothly, and the reprogramming of the purification host will be completed soon. After completing all this, the world of justice will begin to prepare to solve the problems related to the remnants of the Eternal Ascended Ones and the Chaos Virus. Regarding solving the Chaos Virus, Binghua and the top leaders of Justice World each have their own ideas. The Just World wants to use its army to bulldoze the Chaos Star territory, but Binghua does not want to restart a large-scale war. She plans to detonate multiple supernovae in the Chaos Star territory to solve the problem of chaos. However, if you want to catalyze a supernova, there is a problem that needs to be solved, and that is the method of stabilizing the catalytic supernova. After completing the reprogramming of the purification host, Binghua plans to return to the known universe to learn from Li Yang to see if he can obtain a mature and stable supernova catalysis method. But before that, Binghua planned to talk to Hexi first. After all, the other party was very dissatisfied with him for just projecting it back last time. Just do what comes to mind and Binghua directly connects to Hexi's private channel. It's really strange today. You actually took the initiative to contact me. I remember it seems like it has been several years since I last contacted you, right? Listening to He 11's voice full of resentment in the communication, Binghua was a little bit overwhelmed, but He 11's tone quickly returned to his previous intellectual tone. How's it going? Were you shocked by me? Where did you learn this tone from? To be honest, I had a moment of doubt whether I dialed the wrong communication. Binghua slowly breathed a sigh of relief and said angrily. What greeted him was a burst of laughter from He 11. Binghua, your reaction is so interesting. Okay, sister, if you have anything to do with me, don't tell me, you're here to help me. Sister Hexi, do you think I am such an angel? I came to you this time to share some good news with you. He 11 didn't believe Binghua's words, but he was still quite interested in what Binghua said. What was the so-called good news? Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 899. The world of justice I established destroyed the host of the eternal ascendants not long ago, and will no longer be threatened by them from now on. This is indeed good news for you. Hexie was a little uninterested when she heard this, because the Eternal Ascended One basically did not appear in the known universe, so she was not very interested in it. Of course, I also got the other party's complete database, which records millions of years of experience and all the technical information collected by the Eternal Ascended One. At first, he 11 thought that Binghua had defeated someone again, but suddenly he realized and said in a surprised tone, "You got the Eternal Ascended One's database. And it's complete." This really shocked Hexie. She wouldn't be too surprised if Binghua destroyed Samilo, because Binghua was an extremely skilled military commander. But getting the complete database of the Eternal Ascended One is a fantasy. Not to mention the destruction caused by battles, intentional damage, etc., the Eternal Ascended Ones are not the cats and dogs in the known universe, but a civilization that is very powerful in some aspects. But then Binghua briefly explained how he obtained the database, and he 11 could only sigh that his sister was so lucky that the other party took the initiative to deliver his database to his door. Honestly, I'm starting to wonder if you were favored by fate. This is a precious technological heritage that can make a civilization rank at the top of the known universe, but it was obtained so easily. Binghua didn't care much about Hexie's envious tone. Although it sounded simple, the conditions for obtaining this database were extremely difficult. By the way, Sister Hexie, I heard you say last time that the research on the 4th generation divine body has been basically completed. This time I am going to return to the known universe. Can you also upgrade it for me? Binghua said with a smile, and there was a rare hint of flattery in his tone. This made he 11 very useful, and he directly waved his hand and said, "Don't worry, sister, I won't be missing your 4th generation divine body without anyone else. However, you have to exchange some technical information with me, otherwise sister, I will suffer too much." Binghua Han said nonchalantly. "Sister Hexie, as long as you like the technology, you can choose it from me. Don't say anything, I will get it for you even if I don't have it." When he 11 heard this, he said angrily with a smile, "I haven't seen you for a while, but you are becoming more and more eloquent. Okay, sister, I still have some research to do. I will just wait for the good news of your return in Merlot heaven." After chatting for a while, Hexie took the initiative to hang up the communication. Binghua didn't care to say goodbye to Hexie and disconnected from her. As for what he 11 said before about not seeing each other for several years, this is a very common thing among angels. Battle angels are better, especially scientific research angels like he 11 and Binghua, who sometimes research key areas without leaving their own laboratories for several years. Regarding the reprogramming of the purification host, Binghua, with the help of Tianjian's computing power, finally completed it after spending a long time. Binghua immediately positioned his authority to the highest level. Even the creator of the purification host could only succumb to Binghua. Only then did Binghua completely master the purification host, a celestial-level supercomputer. Immediately afterwards, Binghua prepared to reprogram Seminari's purification program. With the purification host as a training object, reprogramming Seminary was not difficult. The purification process of Seminary is being restarted, the communication network is being built, and various high-sequence destroyers have been connected. Hyukari established the center of the Eternal Ascendant through Samilo's program, but Samilo is no longer the previous purification program that regarded the purification of the chaos virus as everything. Your Majesty the Goddess, Samilo, the intelligent control system of the world of justice, is at your service. Unlike the Heavenly Sword system, which is responsible for coordinating the information of various worlds in the justice world, recording the development of each world in a timely manner, and providing assistance to the Divine Throne world and the archons of each world, the Samilo control system is entirely for the military. After all, this is what the other party does in the first place. In the future, even an ordinary Defense Force soldier will be able to obtain Semi-Lo's information and computing power as long as he is still within the signal range of Semi-Lo. The reason why Binghua divides the military and governance into two systems is to prevent some people from using their own system authority to do something that is not good or bad. Using a system like the Sky Sword Semi-Lo to assist in processing things can greatly improve efficiency, but as intelligent systems with mimic personalities, both also have flaws. They cannot distinguish the right from wrong of some things. As long as the authority is high enough within the system, you can complete some violent operations under the supervision of Tianjian and Semi-Lo. Unless there is intervention from someone with higher authority, this is the price of using the system. That's why Binghua established the Judgment Angel, a reality monitoring agency. The two work together to try their best to prevent some worlds from happening because they are too far away from the throne of God, causing some things that shouldn't happen to happen. These are all problems that need to be solved bit by bit in the future. The top priority now is the remnants of the Eternal Ascended Ones. What should I call you? Destroyer, or Eternal Ascended One? In the simulated space of the communication center constructed by Semi-Lo, bright spots are scattered on the star map displayed by the purification host. Among them, the light spots scattered around a large star field marked as the Chaos Star Field are most. There are even several small fleets of Eternal Ascended Purification fleets wandering around in the known universe, and there are even more in the Chaos Star Sea as a whole. You may call us the Destroyers, we know who you are, destroying the very existence of our Creator. A voice with a very cold tone sounded. This was a destroyer stationed around the Chaos Star Field. He was also a relatively late-born destroyer, and he had certain thinking and computing capabilities. The other destroyers were silent, waiting for things to develop. Most of them only had very limited intelligence, so after losing Semi-Lo's instructions, they could only stay where they were. For example, those who blocked the Chaos Star territory were better off, because Semi-Lo gave them a task with no time limit. They just needed to clear out all the chaotic creatures trying to cross the blockade area as usual. It can't be said to be destroyed. Your Creator automatically stopped running because he reached his own conditions for stopping running. And I have gained higher authority than your Creators in the purified host, and your Creators have now become a system loyal to me. Now I have command authority over you. I can suppress your calculations and deprive you of the right to command the low-sequence eternal ascendance. Binghua did not comment on the words that broke the dull destroyer sequence, and began to explain the current situation unhurriedly.